time of giving Jesus total ownership of our house. Not renting, but having that ownership. It's so important that we line ourselves up with the word of the Lord. And as Joseph, I believe, was praying there from Togo and saying, God, we line up our wills with yours. And through the years, as most of you know, my most favorite thing in the world is to be with a bunch of YWAM leaders and passing on whatever tools we can and finding others to pass them on. And many, many years ago, I would be teaching within the leadership context, and I'd be saying, and the word of the Lord came to us. And one of the younger guys came up to me and he says, Darlene, how am I ever going to catch up? And the word of the Lord came to us. He said, aren't you ever going to write those down or give us some kind of indication so if we don't get to hear you speak, we at least know what are those words of the Lord that have come to us to form us. And that's actually how the writing of the values started, was just rehearsing what the words of the Lord were to us. And then others begin to add to that, and groups of leaderships praying into it, and what our values were and what that word of the Lord to us is. And so we want to, as we're in this time of tremendous expansion, everything the Lord's directing us to is not so our house gets littler, but so our house gets much, much larger. And you have to, the larger the house is, the more caretakers you have to have. When it's just a small house, just need a few people to help care for the house. House gets bigger, you got to get more people to help. And we're expanding our house. But it's important as we walk into this expansion time that we always stay true to our core values and who God's called us to be. And I read a book just a few weeks ago called Mission Drift, and I would really recommend the book. It's a Mission Drift by Peter Green and Chris Horst. And actually, it's put into language, friends, that which we've kind of walked through and seen where we have drifted. It was helpful to me to be able to read this, and I thought, oh, yeah, that's how you drift. We did that. I understand that particular paragraph really way too well. But he did research on missions that remained missions true. And he called this a mission true organization. And he pointed out a few things that they do that keeps them true. Number one, they know why they exist. We talk about that quite a bit, don't we? They protect the core at all costs. They remain faithful to what God has called them to do. They can define what is unchangeable in their values and purpose. They clearly understand what is the heart and the DNA of the mission. A mission-true organization can and will change and grow. But they understand that any adaptation and growth cannot alter that core identity. So when we understand our core identity, then as we grow, there's all kinds of adaptations. And let me just give you a couple of examples that they used. A positive example is this, Young Life, which is an organization. Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, the last point was they clearly understand what is the heart and the DNA of the mission. Oh, the whole list. Of course, I should have been modern and had a good PowerPoint up there and some tricky little pictures. And you just have to go slow with me and I'll go slow with you. Okay. Characteristics of a mission-true organization. They know why they exist. I don't like being up here. I'd like us all to be working on the same level, but if that's where you can see me, then that's where I need to be. Characteristics of a mission-true organization. They know why they exist. They protect the core at all cost. They remain faithful to what God has called them to do. They can define what is unchangeable in their values and purpose. They clearly understand what is the heart and the DNA of the mission. Now, a mission-true organization can grow and change. But they understand in that growth and change what can be adapted that gives the growth, but not lose their core identity. So let me give you an example. I think it was back in the 1960s that an organization called Young Life that works with high schoolers was formed. It's a really wonderful organization. And back then, they used music, particularly a certain kind of music we call a barbershop quartet, was just as a special kind of music that was popular at that time. And that helped gather people. They presently use social media, all things digital, to give their message. Are you with me? But the message never changed. The way they did it changed, but it never changed. Now, let me give you a negative example. You are called to Mercy Ministries. You are working with orphans. You are feeding the poor and the needy. And you are looking for major funding. And you have this major funding opportunity. And they say, if you'll just tone down this Jesus stuff, you'll be able to feed so many more orphans. You'll be able to do your ministry so much more effectively if you'll just tone down this Christian stuff. You say your goal is to feed orphans. Can we tone down the Jesus stuff? No. It's the very essence of the existence of who we are. And it's our faith in Jesus Christ, friends, that brings about change and creativity and also brings about feeding orphans. God's interested in us having those orphans fed. Now, the other point, and I won't give you the whole book, this is the last one. The other point said you must be careful about people that join your mission that are only excited about one part of it. So this is the exact words. Beware of people joining the mission who are only excited about one part of it and don't embrace the whole. So in a gathering like this, we are talking about the whole world. We recognize that Troy from Polynesia, from Samoa, is called to be the focus of his call. We understand that. But did you notice as they were sharing, they were talking about many things from the University of the Nations. They have embraced the whole. And we embrace the whole world. We have giftings and specific callings. But friends, as we have people join the family, they need to know we're a really big family. I just loved it last night when Lauren was speaking. Well, not because Lauren was speaking, but, well, no, that's not what I meant. Yes. That did not come out right. What I loved about last night, as well as Lauren speaking, was our testimonies, didn't you? When you heard from Paul and when you heard from Afghanistan, and then whenever those people walked across the stage about what we're doing with Bibles in all these different places. And that last night was a demonstration of embracing the whole. Are you with me? So yeah, it's very important that we recognize that we don't shift from our core values and that we are continually have this mandate for the alls and the everys and to be able to pass on to all that are with us all the different ways that we can do that. And we don't want to have any of that drift away from that where we are not sure what our core identity is. So all of this is to introduce to you another look at our values and our beliefs, that we might be really committed to that, to be able to understand. There was an organization that makes, one of the things they do is Quaker Oats. We probably know Quaker Oats everywhere. But the founder of that organization was a remarkable Christian. He has written into their bylaws that their biannual business meeting, when all the board of directors come together, that they must spend 30 minutes reading their core values and their beliefs and another 30 talking about it before they can do any business. I thought, that's not bad, is it? And so we want to take a look at how we have our values and our beliefs. And what we're doing today is there's been many people have been talking about it. I think maybe Steve Good was one of the first people that mentioned to me, he said, Dar, we need to organize these in a little better way so that people can understand it easier. And Ken Mulligan more recently, and then David Hamilton, who kind of is our architect of lots of things as he gathers what the others are saying. And so he's going to make a presentation to us regarding a draft of how, it is not the change of anything. It is the presentation of it. And how important it is, friends, that our beliefs are clear. And one of the things that has happened as the way we have organized our values is we have a preamble, which is really, really, really important because it's the beliefs. And your values clarify your beliefs. So because we believe this, then we have these 18 values. But I have noticed through the years, I go a lot of places and I just see the 18 values. And we've had some guys leading in some fun raps about the values in our DTSs. And so, value one, and they do it lots of fun. And I said, what did you do about the introduction? You're not rapping about what we really believe in, so we can value this. And they are making that adjustment as I speak. But so I believe you'll be able to see this. So what our process today will be for us to have this presentation as a draft, and then the second session after break, we'll break up into some groupings and discussion groups and talk about it, and you can look at it and say, hey, in our language where we are, this just won't work. This is not helpful. Or I think we could say it better. But as we walk away from here, I'm hoping we'll have something that as we go over our core values and our beliefs, that it's really clear to us. None of what we're going to present is anything that's new at all. It's just a matter of trying to make it into a format that is easier for us to work with and be able to pass on who we are. So in that second session, then, we'll work in groupings of that. With those that have been a part of our GLF, that second session, Lauren and I would like to have just a little time with you while the others are working. So after break, we'll go to room 1 and 2. And we'll be able then also to process that, how we go on, expand well, and go towards the future. David, would you come?